Do you want to know how to get one of those lovely hyperlapses that look really cool and they've got lights streaking all through them and stuff? Well, stick around and I'll show you how I do it. And at the end, I'll also show you a sneaky way of grabbing a still without having to actually take a photo with your drone. I'm out in my back garden again, and I've just been taking a lovely hyperlapse of a sunset in a really hazy sky. Okay, it wasn't that inspiring, but one thing occurred to me. Something that I haven't shown you yet is getting light trails from cars using a hyperlapse. You want to do this in what's called blue hour, which is just after the suns go down, but there's still a little bit of ambient light around. Blue hour doesn't mean that thing we used to watch on Channel 4 in the 80s after our parents had gone to bed. I did take her up just now, and it's still a little bit too light, but we don't want it to get too dark because otherwise you get something like this. Yeah, that was a complete waste of time. Iris, what time is sunset today?
Sunset was at 20:23 today.
Was at 20:23. Let's get on with it. Let's get a battery in, get her switched on, we'll take her up and I'll show you how to do it. Oh yes, that's looking good. We're going to fly up over there and we're going to fly over the marketplace in Westbury. I'm not going over there because of those trees. I'm going to take the drone up quite high to about 100 meters. These shots tend to be better a little bit lower down, but I'm in my neighborhood. I don't really want to annoy the neighbors or set the dogs barking. But also, I've got a couple of trees here that even if I can see the drone over there, they seem to still want to mess with me. And I think I've worked out why. Here, did you see what Steve did the other day to his drone?
Steve?
Yeah, Steve the tree, down at Bratton.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. But he's flying up really high now. We're never going to grab him.
That's all right. We've got other ways to mess with him. Now spread your leaves out and suck up as much of that ground juice as you can. Here we go. Bloody trees. That got him. The other thing you need to consider is if you want to take more than one crack at it, then you've got a very small amount of time in that window. One thing you could do is stick an ND8 filter on so that you can go right at the beginning of that time window and then take the filter off just as the light's going and have another crack at it then as well. Believe me, I've had a lot of cracks at it. We use the ND8 filter to really slow the shutter speed down. We want it to be as slow as possible, a bit like that guy that you used to sit next to in geography. I'm not sure that's politically correct, but okay, gimbal down. Let's just go into our hyperlapse settings. We're going to put a little bit of movement into this, not a lot, but just to give it a bit of interest. And then on Pro settings, we're going to go into the shutter speed and bring that right down as far as we can. Because we've got a 2-second shutter speed, we have to set the interval of the pictures that are taken at 4 seconds, otherwise it won't let us get down to that 2-second shutter speed. We set our first waypoint just here, then move the drone back to our final waypoint, perhaps adjusting the gimbal, and set the final waypoint. Now with these hyperlapses, it's best to stay in just as straight a line as possible. Otherwise this can happen. We'll do a 10-second hyperlapse, which takes 16 minutes and 40 seconds. Check our other settings, and then hit go. So normally what I would do is set up my hyperlapse by going to the closest place to me first, and then the furthest place away, and then hitting reverse, but I forgot to do that in this one. So I'm burning up a lot of battery by flying backwards and forwards all the time. Now I hope this one comes out alright, because this is my third attempt at filming this video. The first time those trees interfered with things, and the second time it wasn't that breezy down here, but it was really windy up there and I was getting a strong wind warning. And there's just no point in doing hyperlapses when the drone's doing that all over the place. Those gimbals are good, but they do have their limits. And the other time, I just mistimed things terribly and it was too dark and I got that horrible mess that you saw earlier. Oh, and stick around because there's a secret to getting the perfect screenshot if you want a still from your hyperlapse as well. So we've got 14 minutes and 21 seconds left and 16 minutes and 15 seconds until forced return to home. So as long as it doesn't get too windy and start using up the battery a bit more, we should be perfectly fine and safe. The other thing to do is to adjust your exposure, just to make sure that you're getting it dark enough to really make those lights pop. I've always wanted to say, make your lights pop. While we're waiting for this, and I haven't lit myself, shall I light myself? It's alright, I'll sort it out in post. In the UK, it is legal to fly at night, or in the dark, which is normally at night, without a strobe. A strobe does help though, just with visual line of sight, although the lights on that are actually really easy to see. I kind of get better visual line of sight at dusk or at night with those lights than I do during the day sometimes. The other thing is, in certain parts of Europe, it's illegal to fly over roads. It's not the same in the UK. Okay, before you start leaving anything in the comments, but do check with your local territory's rules and regulations just to make sure that everything you're doing is safe and by the book. I've got to say this now, you'd be doing me a great favour if you could hit like on the video, and if you like this sort of stuff, subscribe as well and hit the notifications. That'd be great, really helps the channel out and also gets the video out to more people that will enjoy stuff like this. Thank you very much. I've got another battery fully charged. I might be able to have another crack at this. We'll see. Might be a little bit too dark. Oh, if we do it again, can you remind me to take the ND filter off? But you can see on the screen here, it is starting to get quite dark, but hopefully with that 2-second shutter speed, that should still pull up quite a lot of the colours and quite a lot of the light from the ground there. One other thing to say about hyperlapse is, this is using the full camera sensor in the drone. These little cornery bits here are actually denoting the output of the finished video, so do bear that in mind when you're framing your hyperlapse. And the other thing, of course, is because the shutter speed is so slow, it means we can keep our ISO down quite a lot, and that means less noise in the picture. Just hit the auto return to home, but I think we got most of that in. I'm going to pop another battery in and just see if I can get another shot. Where are we at? 64, need to go up a bit further. See, look at that beautiful golden area there. It's kind of pub central in our town. And we'll set a waypoint there. 16 minutes. Yeah, let's do 10 seconds, just to be on the safe side. And we'll do a reverse sequence this time, so we're going to fly forward and go. I love doing this sort of stuff. It's a little bit techy, but also you get a really nice sort of creative look out of it at the end. And the best way to learn how to do this stuff is just play around. See what works and see what doesn't. You're going to fail far more before you succeed. But when you succeed, you get that perfect shot. A chef's kiss. That's what all the kids say now, isn't it? I think at some point I might have to do a video on YouTube just for Westbury to show them A, how, well, yeah, beautiful the town is, but B, that they're not being surveilled all the time. There must be some people that look up in the sky around my house and go, there's always a drone just hanging there. But it's not, it's doing a hyperlapse and moving very, very slowly. But they're there with their tinfoil hats on going, we're being surveilled. Or of course you've got some people that go, here, he's peeping through my windows to look at my knickers. From 94 metres up. And who'd be interested in your knickers when you can look at something like this? Of course, one of the nightmares with one of these shots is that I'm doing this on a Sunday night, probably when there's the least amount of traffic. I took one of these the other night and it was really busy, but I was just doing an experiment. So I just had it on free and I sort of lifted the drone up to see what it would look like a little higher up. So it doesn't look very good, but here it is anyway. Sent it to the neighbours. I got a comment back, busy. There's a good few cars there. We should get a few nice light streaks. Oh, I'm glad I got a second crack at this tonight. The light's just about going now. But actually that area is really well lit up. And in fact, I'm getting a few zebras here saying that I'm slightly overexposed in some areas. So perhaps that's one thing. if there's a lot of ambient light on the ground, so when the street lights are on, you might be okay doing this a bit later at night. How are we doing for battery? Oh, plenty. Now, a few people, including myself when I first started out, have got a little bit confused about where to find their hyperlapses. They've gone into their SD card on their computer and gone into that folder that says hyperlapses, and there's just a bunch of pictures. The actual hyperlapse that the drone creates is in the DCIM folder, and it just looks like any other MP4 file. The good thing about those photos in the hyperlapse folder, though, is that you can take those and they're a standalone photo, still with those light streaks in. And in fact, I used one of those on one of my recent video thumbnails. It did quite well. The other thing to remember is try to do this on a dead calm day. You've got a very, very long shutter speed, and so any movement of the drone is going to make the pictures it's taking blurry. There is a way to correct that, but that's a little bit of an advanced method, which I might cover in another video. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. I love the sort of golden hue you get from these new streetlights. Well done, Westbury. Well done. Although the framing of that could be better. This is one of the other great things about hyperlapses. You're not really sure what you're going to get until it's done and you watch it back. New camera. The Sony Alpha 6700. Yet another investment for the Amok Time Flies channel, which will see a return on the investment in about 2037. Oh, there we go. All done. All right, let's bring it back. I do love a bit of night mode. Here's the first one in ambient sort of light. I don't know how that looks because I haven't seen it yet. I'm just saying this to the camera now. And here's the second one. Hope that one's really good as well. Cool. 9:15. Right, I'm off to go and get a wheat lemon drink. Bye.